Hey, Tim Sykes here, Friday morning. Just got to make a confession. I had some good trades earlier today, a lot of good trades this week, but I'm getting a little sloppy. Just tried to dip by MARA and was frankly just wrong. Getting a little over aggressive, dip buying a second day winner. Usually I dip by either multi-day winners or, a big percent winner on the first green day. Second green day is kind of no man's land. And I rightfully, had a loss. The good news is I'm controlling my losses. I'm losing a few $100. I went for a morning spike on XELA. That was a little sloppy too because they didn't have a great catalyst. I just thought, oh, it's a Friday morning speculative market. Let's push it. So these two were sloppy trades. And, this video is my confession. I'm like, Usher, these are my confessions. But I think it's good to be honest and very introspective in trading when you start to get a little sloppy and you have to take a step back and reevaluate. I have made nearly 60 grand in the past 30 days, which is awesome for me. That's above average this week. I think it's really good to look at different time frames and see, what you've been doing. This week has been fantastic for me, 24,000 on the week. And I got to give props to students too. Like, it's not just me, like students like Sean just nailed MARA, made 800 bucks, nearly doubling his money. He's been studying hard. Muddy Dirt made a nice 10% on WTRH. That was a little choppy stock. And then Demi making small trades, making 30 bucks, 33 and $70. And, the 30-minute workday to $133. If you understand by the end of this video, the gist, not just that these are my confessions, but that small gains add up, please say it in the comments. Say, I understand small gains add up, because the key here with a lot of these choppy stocks is recognizing that. Here are just a few from the chat room. I'm sorry if I missed you. There's frankly too many awesome messages lately, but here's Dodge making 220 on VUZI. VUZI, by the way, before I get to other students, VUZI was my single best trade in quite a while. I wish I took more size, but sometimes you don't know, the best trades before they happen. And VUZI was a speculative Friday runner. They had, news pre-market. Some people ask, like, why do I buy pre-market? When there's a good setup, I might trade pre-market. In fact, I wish I had held this until the market opened when it spiked all the way to the threes. I was buying it after it had already spiked, after the news had already came out. Like, this is the thing. A lot of you guys are trying to buy stocks before they spike, before the news hits, and you're trying to guess. Instead of trying to guess, I would rather you react. And so this was a big spiker yesterday, but it was choppy. Today, pre-market, it came out with the press release talking about coronavirus. And how their products can maybe help in this situation. And it had already started spiking. And I just thought, okay, it spiked big yesterday. I know it was disappointing. This stock has been disappointing for years, but it's a Friday morning. Friday mornings are the most speculative for, potential runners. This was a nice runner from yesterday. And best of all, forget about just buying recent runners and, hoping that they spike again. This had tons of support in here all day. Like, even though it spiked from the 180s all the way up to the 280s yesterday, it came in and really coiled and had a lot of support here in the 220s, 230 area. So today, pre-market, even before the news, was hanging around 230. That was my risk. And this is the thing, like, people say, like, why are you buying a speculative stock? Like, think about what your risk is, risk reward. And when I put out the alert, I said, I think it might retest yesterday's highs at 280. So if I'm buying in the 230s and I think it can retest 280, I mean, that's nearly 50 cents a share of upside and what, 5 cents a share of downside? I mean, that's 10 to 1 risk reward on a Friday morning on a recent spiker with news in a speculative market. The only reason why I didn't go bigger is just because this stock has failed so many times. But this was an absolutely great trade, buying it in the 230s. I sold it around 270 because, frankly, I just didn't think that it could break out. It did break out to the threes, although, the breakout failed. So I was right in the sense that it wouldn't hold the breakout. I also underestimated it by 40 cents. So I made roughly 30 cents. I underestimated by 40 cents, and I still made roughly $1,000 on it. that was a good trade where the risk reward is there, the setup is there. I'm playing off yesterday's price action. I'm recognizing what kind of market we're in. And that's the kind of, multi-positive indicator setup that I should have on every trade. Compare that with XELA, which was my first sloppy trade. And yeah, I mean, it broke the previous highs here at 32. That's what I was excited about, thinking that it could really spike again, excuse me. It was a recent spiker. It does have a lot of support here at 30, but at the same time, no specific news. And it's right around where I bought it. It wouldn't have been a big gain or a big loss either way, but it's just a trade that I shouldn't have been in because there's no specific catalyst. That was me getting a little too over aggressive. After VUZI, not being aggressive enough with my holding, not being aggressive enough with my position size, I tried to be a little more aggressive, a little more speculative on XELA, and that was wrong. So that's how I judge it. It's not just like, oh, did I make money? Did I lose money? It's like, was the setup there? Could I have been more aggressive or less aggressive? Anyways, here are some of my other trades. SPOM made a little dip buy today. That was decent. This is a multi-day runner, and you had the morning panic. It actually went down to the 17th, so I didn't even have a great entry, but there was like 5 or 6 cents a share of upside. VYST was yesterday's runner. INPX. Not all news can spike a stock. Like this stock was spiking on this patent being spread all around social media for thermal imaging. I saw LPTH also had a thermal imaging, and this one has been spiking up a little bit. But thermal imaging cameras, it's a tough sell. Even MARK, which is the leader right now for thermal imaging camera stocks, it's so choppy. And I said, I know that it's a breakout chart. I know that it's a hot sector, but seriously, you could not pay me to get into this stock. This is a chop fest. And very similar to ZOM, I saw a lot of people pumping this one up. This one just sucks. I know that it can run for a little bit, but you really have to be careful. Like GNUS was being pumped up here, and it was laughable, that it was being pumped up. Oh, they have all these deals with Amazon and stuff, and they're just putting their content on Amazon. I can make a video and sign a deal with Amazon and put it on there. So it was laughable that it was getting pumped up. The thing that ruined it, I was really looking forward to shorting it. I wanted to go to the 2s. But they had an offering pre-market yesterday, and it just, was a sucker punch to anybody who believes pumpers. And it went down from 140 all the way down to the 50s in 5 or 6 minutes. It actually came back, and this was a good short. Props to Jack Kellogg. He shorted it. I couldn't find shares to short on the bounce after the offering. Every short wants it. So part of the reason why people say oh, who are the pumpers? I don't want to call them out. I don't want them to stop. I appreciate every pump. They create volatility. They're not that smart, as always. Some pumpers, when I was cautious about ZOM last night, they're and it was spiking after hours. They're you deleted your tweet about ZOM. I'm no, I didn't. It's right there. And I retweeted my other tweet earlier saying that I don't think ZOM is going to hold its gains. And sure enough, it's down only 4% on the day. It did go up, but you're down 30% plus off the highs if you believe those pumpers. So I'm not going to delete tweets. I can be wrong. I'm wrong roughly 30% of the time. And it's not like I was shorting this stock either. Some people, there's all these conspiracy theories oh, you have all these other accounts you're doing. I have no other accounts. I do no other trading. Okay. I have no time. I have no desire to be shady like everyone else. These shady people think that just because they're shady, everyone has to be shady. No, the reason why my business is doing so well is just because I'm real. I don't have to be perfect every time. And I want you to understand that. You don't have to be perfect every time. Make a confessional video about your successes and your mistakes. But these are all my trades. IO was probably my best trade yesterday. I'm sorry I didn't do a video yesterday. I'm just trying to keep up. Not a huge gain, but this was an early earnings winner. And I said very similar price action to CLSK. And if you look at recent trades and recent patterns, IO was a big morning spiker on earnings, same thing as CLSK, and they both actually came down nicely too. So the same logic applies that if they're going to spike in the morning, they can also, fail to hold their gains. Some people are saying why is IO not doing well on day 2? Well, look how CLSK did. When I say a stock looks similar to another stock, it usually goes in the same kind of path, on day one, day two, day three, even. That's not to say that I was going to short CLSK or short IO, because you just never know with earnings winners. I don't like shorting earnings winners, but I'm not totally surprised that IO is not doing much on day two, and it didn't close well, because it's very similar to CLSK, but sold right near the highs. I'm always happy when I sell right near the highs, which is very rare for me. PIXY, I also sold near the highs yesterday into that morning spike. You just can't believe these companies, like you have to really expect the worst. I feel for the people who got stuck in GNUS, but the fact that they did their offering, the stock was at $1.40 and they announced an offering at 35 cents a share, like a 75% discount to the current price. And I don't know if the pumpers, were getting paid. I don't care, let them be corrupt, let them do illegal stuff. All I care about is the volatility and, recognizing that almost every one of these companies is going to screw up. Almost every one of these companies is going to go down. So ride the hype as long as you can, but recognize where it ends up. So some people will say, oh, well, why don't you just short it? I'd be very scared to short. Shorting, you don't know how high these stocks can go. What if GNUS didn't do an offering? It could have gone to the twos. So I'm going to keep trading as best I can. Like I said, I'm over trading a little bit, so that's why I'm making this video midday, just to try to be real about it. But more than just myself, again, so many students, CP Smith making 20% on MARA, MMC Dade making 1,000 on the day. I'm done for the week. I love this. I love this dedication and this discipline, making $1,000 in the first 90 minutes of the trading day and then being like, I'm done. If you can make $1,000 and you just lock it in, that's good. I mean, I wish I had just stopped at VUZI, but you can't go back in time. All you can try to do is be better. WTRH was also a recent runner, and I like this. Trading My Lifestyle made 10% on WTRH and 10% on MARK. Gambling sucks. Day trading rocks made 1,000 on Mark. Shorting Mark, MARK. Be very careful with shorting these low price plays. Dario made 15% on MARA. FTech was also a runner earlier in the day. I didn't even get a chance to look at that. There's literally so many plays. This is a nice triple from after hours into the extended spike. Some people are like, why can't it hold its gains? Like, you have to think about where it comes from. And a triple in a day is a lot. I know that, there's a lot of stocks moving, but a lot of you guys are just spoiled where you're like, oh, it's only a triple. It should go up 500% or 1,000%. No, calm down. Have some sense. AV Trades made some 10% on SPOM dip buy and also 10% on VYST. Viverdi, wow. Solid gain on VUZI, much better exit than me. Same entry, better exit. I love when students do better than me. Barebones made 15% on FTech. MC Trenery, a little cautious on VUZI. That's fine. It's okay to be cautious. It's okay to sell too soon. Jerry Gordon made nearly 10% on MARA. Riot also spiking for MC Valorant Kilo. Mara made 25%. Molly sold too soon but made 471, and John Ulfers made $200 in 5 minutes. And part of the reason why I'm showing you this is not just to like brag about my students, or I know some of these guys and girls are watching this video, so it's always cool to be featured, but I want to give you an idea of what's working. Okay, remember, 90% of traders lose, and I mean, I don't have enough time in the day or air in my lungs to go over all the misconceptions and all the stuff that people are doing wrong. So instead, I'm just going to focus on what people are doing right. Even if you sell too soon, even if you lock in 8% and could have made 20%, you're still the minority in the trading world. And what I want you to learn, especially from my trades, it's okay to have losses, but I'm still controlling my gains. For the week, I'm still up 24,000. Okay, I've locked in $20,000 plus in profits, and my losses are what? 100, 200 bucks? So it's okay to have losses. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be a little too over aggressive sometimes, just recognize that you're probably going to make errors sometimes, and you have to learn to minimize those losses. Do not let small mistakes turn into potential disasters by getting stubborn and cocky and saying, oh, you need your perfect track record. Perfect track records don't exist, okay? Somebody who has a perfect track record is getting ready for a big fall. No different than my first $500,000 loss over a decade ago, because I had never had a big loss and I did not know how to deal with it. Small losses are fine. So if you understand that, leave a comment below this video. Small losses are fine. Small gains add up. And it's a process. I don't make 24,000 on one trade. It's lots of little gains and little losses added up. I'll see you guys in the chat room. I'm going to try not to trade. Just watch the market. Stay disciplined.